Never skip these 7 must-do exercises if you're over 60. I'm not here to lecture you about cholesterol, sugar levels, or blood pressure. You've heard those speeches 1,000 times. What I'm here to talk about is something more personal, something every one of us feels deep in our bones, the quiet fear of losing control of our own body. It starts subtly. You notice it when you bend down to tie your shoes and feel your knees crack, when you step outside and instinctively grab the door frame because your balance feels shaky, when you push yourself up from your favorite chair and realize your hands are doing all the work because your legs just don't respond the way they used to. I know this feeling well. My name is Dr. David. I turned 60 this year, and I've spent more than 3 decades as a neurologist, guiding thousands of men and women through the challenges of aging. I've seen firsthand how nothing wounds the human spirit more than the moment someone realizes they no longer trust their own body. But here's the truth. Most people don't hear your body hasn't given up on you. Even at 60, 70, or beyond, you still have remarkable potential to rebuild strength, restore balance, and reclaim independence. You just need the right tools and the willingness to practice them consistently. And that's what today is about. Not a gym membership, not expensive equipment, not chasing the body you had at 25. Instead, we'll go through 7 simple, powerful exercises you can do right at home. These movements are gentle yet effective, designed to reawaken the muscles and connections that matter most. By the end of this video, you won't just know 7 exercises. You'll understand why each one is like a key, unlocking strength, balance, and confidence you may have thought was gone forever. So let's begin. Right where you are, in the chair you're sitting on. Let me share a story. One rainy afternoon years ago, I visited a longtime patient of mine, Mr. Walter. He was 68, a cheerful man who had just finished a difficult round of heart treatment. His body was weak, his energy low. But when I asked him what bothered him most, it wasn't fatigue, it wasn't pain. It wasn't even fear of his condition. He looked at me and said quietly, "Doctor, what makes me saddest is that every evening I need my wife to help me get up from this chair." That struck me harder than any medical chart ever could. It wasn't about muscles or medicine. It was about dignity, independence. The ability to rise on your own 2 feet and know you're still in command of your body. So we didn't start with treadmills or weights. We started with the simplest, most overlooked movement, standing up and sitting down without using his hands. At first, it felt almost insulting to him. "That's it?" he asked. But here's why it mattered. The chair squat is one of the most fundamental exercises for anyone over 60. Every time you rise from a chair using only your legs, you're activating the quadriceps, glutes, and core, the powerhouse muscles that literally keep you upright. And more importantly, you're retraining your nervous system. Your brain sends the signal, your muscles respond, your knees align, your spine stabilizes. It's not just a movement, it's a conversation between your body and mind. I usually instruct my patients, start with 5 repetitions in the morning, place your feet shoulder-width apart, hands resting lightly on your thighs, inhale deeply. As you rise, push through your heels, not your hands. Exhale slowly as you sit back down, lowering yourself with control. The goal isn't speed, it's awareness. Each rise is a reminder. I'm still strong. I'm still in control. When Walter first tried, He wobbled. He grimaced. His thighs burned after just 3 repetitions, but he kept at it. A week later, he could manage 7. 2 weeks later, 10. Slowly, the effort became less about struggle and more about confidence. Months later, when I saw him again, he greeted me with a grin. "Doctor," he said, "I don't sit around staring at the TV remote anymore, wishing someone would fetch it. I get up myself." That's the kind of transformation a chair squat brings. It's not about fitness, it's about freedom. And I ask you, what would it feel like to know that when you sit, you can always stand again, that you don't have to wait or call or hesitate? That's why the chair squat is first on this list. It restores the very foundation of independence. But standing up is only the beginning, because balance doesn't just come from your legs. It starts much lower, in the forgotten muscles of your feet, and that's where our next exercise begins. Let's shift our attention downward to your feet. It might surprise you, but some of the most important muscles for balance and stability aren't in your thighs or hips. They're in your shins. And most people don't realize this until it's too late. Take my patient, Linda, for example. She was 74, sharp-minded and full of energy. One evening, while walking across her living room, she caught the edge of a rug and stumbled. She didn't break a bone, thank goodness. But what she lost was harder to measure her confidence. She confided in me, "Doctor, it feels like my feet aren't even mine anymore. I don't know where they are or what they sit doing." That wasn't just fear talking. It was her nervous system sounding the alarm. You see, as we age, the muscles in the front of our shins, the tibialis anterior, weaken. When that happens, our ability to lift the front of the foot while walking diminishes. This tiny change can mean the difference between clearing a step and catching your toe on it. That's where the toe raise comes in. It's deceptively simple, but it's one of the most powerful exercises you can do to restore that mind-body connection. Here's how, while standing or sitting, keep your heels firmly planted on the floor. Slowly lift the front of your feet, raising your toes as high as possible. Hold for one slow, steady breath. Lower your toes back down with control. That's it. No weights, no strain, just you, your feet, and gravity. But the magic isn't in the movement alone. The magic is in what happens between your brain and your body. Each time you raise your toes, you're sending signals back up the nervous system. This is where my foot is. This is the ground. This is my weight. I am stable. Doctors call it proprioception. I like to call it body awareness. It's the invisible sense that tells you where you are in space without having to look. Linda began practicing toe raises twice a day, 10 to 15 repetitions. At first, she didn't notice much. But after a couple of weeks, she described something incredible. "Doctor, when I walk across the park now, I don't feel like I'm guessing where my feet are. I feel steady, like my feet are listening to me again." That's the kind of confidence a simple toe raise can restore. And it doesn't just help with walking, it reduces the fear of tripping on uneven sidewalks, slippery tiles, or household rugs. If you've ever found yourself whispering inside, be careful, don't fall with every step you take. This exercise is your antidote. Because when your feet and brain start talking to each other again, the world stops feeling like an obstacle course and starts feeling like home. So as you rise from your chair today, Don't just think about your legs. Think about your toes. Wake them up, reconnect them to your stride, because every strong step begins from the ground up. And yet, balance isn't just about moving forward. Sometimes life pushes us sideways, and for that you'll need strength you can't see in the mirror. Picture this. You're standing on a quiet path. The air is calm. A single leaf drifts down in front of you. You lean slightly to the side to pick it up, and suddenly your body wobbles. It's not because your legs are weak. It's because your core, the muscles deep in your center, have lost their stability. This is something I see often with my patients. The front of the body may appear strong, but the sides, the obliques, the hip stabilizers, the deep core muscles have quietly weakened over time. And when those muscles no longer do their job, even a small sideways nudge can feel like a threat. That's why I often introduce the side plank. It's not flashy. It won't bulk you up, but it teaches your body something priceless: how to hold firm when life pushes from the side. Let me tell you about Sam. He was 66, a retired firefighter, brave, strong, the kind of man who had spent his career running into danger while others ran out. But after a minor stroke, he confessed something heartbreaking. "Doc, I don't trust my body anymore. One little bump, and I feel like I'll tip over." We started small, gentle stretches, basic core exercises. But what truly changed his confidence was the side plank. Here, SUPS, the movement. Lay on your side, resting on one forearm. Stack your legs, one on top of the other. Slowly lift your hips off the floor, creating a straight line from head to feet. Hold for just a few seconds, 5 at first, then 10. It looks simple, but it activates the muscles that keep you steady in the real world. The obliques, the lower back, the hips, the ones that stop you from tipping when a bus jerks, when the ground is uneven, or when someone brushes past you in a crowd. Science calls it lateral core activation. I call it quiet trust. Sam practiced diligently. At first, he trembled after just 3 seconds, but little by little, he held longer, and something beautiful happened. The fear in his eyes faded. He began walking into my office without clutching the door frame. He smiled more. He once told me, "It's SEPs, not just that I am stronger. It's SEPs that I feel like myself again, like I am anchored." That's what the side plank does. It doesn't just build muscle. It builds confidence. The kind of confidence that allows you to step sideways, turn quickly, or bend with ease without fear of falling. And when you carry that quiet trust inside, the world feels less threatening. You no longer grab the railing every time you turn around. You no longer freeze at the thought of a slippery floor. Instead, you feel grounded, like a tree whose roots run deep. So the next time you lie down on the floor, don't think of it as exercise. Think of it as practice for life's nudges, because aging doesn't stop the wind from blowing, but it can teach you how to stand firm when it does. Falls don't usually happen when walking straight ahead. They happen when life shifts sideways. Think about it. Stepping off the curb, turning quickly to answer someone behind you, adjusting your stride when the ground dips unexpectedly. These aren't moments of brute strength. They're moments of balance, and balance relies on a muscle most people forget, the gluteus medius, or what I like to call the quiet guardian of stability. Let me tell you about Dorothy. She was 81, full of warmth and humor. She once told me, "Doctor, I don't need to travel the world anymore. I just want to step out into my garden, turn to the left, and pick a few mint leaves without tumbling into the bushes." That one sentence struck me. For Dorothy, independence wasn't about big adventures. It was about tiny moments of freedom, bending into her garden, turning safely, trusting her own steps. We started with the lateral leg raise. It may not look impressive, but it trains the exact muscles that prevent sideways falls. Here steps how it works. Stand tall, holding on to a chair or countertop for support. Slowly lift one leg out to the side. Just a few inches is enough. Keep your torso upright. Don't sit, lean, or sway. Hold for a second, then gently lower your foot back down. Repeat 10 times on each leg, 2 or 3 times a day. What happens when you do this? That small but mighty gluteus medius activates. This muscle doesn't propel you forward like your quads. Instead, it keeps your body aligned when you step sideways, climb a curb, or shift directions. Without it, your body tips off balance, and that's when falls occur. A study by the National Institute on Aging found that weakness in this exact muscle is one of the leading hidden causes of falls in older adults. In fact, they reported that people with poor side stability were nearly twice as likely to experience a serious fall within a year. But here's the good news. It doesn't take long to rebuild. Just 3 to 4 weeks of training can make a noticeable difference. Patients often report feeling less wobbly, more centered, and in control when turning or sidestepping. For Dorothy, it was life-changing. Within a month, she told me, "Doctor, I can step sideways in my kitchen without grabbing the counter. I feel steady again." And the day she returned to her garden, plucked those mint leaves, and came back inside without hesitation, her eyes sparkled with pride. That's the gift of lateral leg raises. They don't just strengthen your hips, they strengthen your independence. And the next time you sidestep around a puddle, shift to pick up your grandchild, or navigate a crowded room, you'll notice the difference. Because balance isn't just about moving forward. It's about trusting your body when the ground shifts sideways. Let's talk about walking. It's the most natural thing in the world, yet for many people over 60, it becomes a source of quiet anxiety. Take Mr. Frank, for example. He was 73 when he came into my clinic. He lowered his voice, almost embarrassed, and asked, "Doc, I know you going to give me medicine, but is there something that can help me walk without staring at the ground every second?" That broke my heart. Because walking, something that should bring joy, freedom, and connection to the world around us, had become for him an exercise in fear. That's when I introduced him to the heel-to-toe walk. It's steps simple but powerful. Place the heel of one foot directly in front of the toes of the other. Walk forward as if balancing on a tightrope, step by step. Keep your gaze forward, not down. Use a hallway wall or countertop for support until you feel steadier. At first, it feels like a child's game. But what's happening inside your body is profound. The heel-to-toe walk activates a network of systems, your ankles flexing, your core tightening, your eyes focusing, your nervous system firing reflexes to keep you steady. It's like waking up a symphony of balance that's been dormant for too long. Research from geriatric centers shows that practicing this simple exercise daily can reduce the risk of falls by up to 40% within 3 months. Imagine that, nearly cutting your risk in half just by walking a few careful steps each day. But beyond the statistics, it says about what you feel. After practicing for a month, Frank returned to my office with a smile. "Doc, I still walk carefully, but I don't just cling to the wall anymore. I can walk from my backyard to the mailbox without fear." That shift from fear to freedom is what makes this exercise so transformative. Because when you're no longer looking down with every step, you start looking up again. You notice the trees, you feel the breeze, you listen to the crunch of leaves underfoot. Life returns to your walk. So start small. 10 careful steps in the morning, 10 more in the evening, and one day soon you'll discover something remarkable. You're walking not just with steadiness, but with confidence. Because walking should never be about fear. It should be about freedom. Let's talk about something nearly every older adult complains of at some point: back pain. It creeps in slowly. At first, it's just a twinge when you bend down to pick up a towel. Then it's a dull ache when you lean forward to tie your shoes. Before long, the simple act of standing up straight feels like a chore. But here's what I've discovered after decades as a neurologist. The pain often isn't coming from your back at all. It's coming from weakness in the muscles that should be supporting your back, the glutes and the deep core. When those links in the chain fail, the lower back is forced to carry a burden it was never meant to bear. That's SEPs where the bridge exercise comes in. Here's SEPs. How? Lie on your back with your knees bent, feet flat on the floor. Press your heels down, squeeze your glutes, and lift your hips until your body forms a straight line from shoulders to knees. Hold for a few seconds, then lower slowly, one vertebra at a time. It looks simple, but the results are profound. By reactivating the glutes and strengthening the core, you take the strain off your lower back and give it the support it desperately needs. I remember Susan, 69, who came to me saying, "Doctor, I feel like my back is decades older than the rest of me." I gave her one assignment: perform bridges every morning, 8 to 10 repetitions right after waking. At first she doubted it. 2 weeks later she called me with excitement. "Today I bent down to tie my shoes, no hands, no pain. My back felt young again." That's the power of the bridge. It doesn't just relieve pain, it reconnects your body. Think of it as a bridge, not only between your shoulders and knees, but between weakness and strength, between fragility and confidence. Because when your back rises in strength, your spirit rises with it. And when you feel supported from the ground up, you carry yourself differently, taller, steadier, lighter. We've talked about legs, hips, core, and balance. But there's one exercise that ties everything together. One so simple, most people overlook it completely: breathing. Yes, you breathe every day. But let me ask, when was the last time you really felt your breath? Deep, intentional, steady, the kind of breath that calms your heart, steadies your movement, and clears your mind. One of my patients, Estelle, 75, said something to me that I shall never forget. "Doctor, I was doing the exercises you gave me, but I didn't feel truly alive until you taught me to breathe with them." That's the secret. When you pair breath with movement, everything changes. Inhale before you push. Exhale as you move. Breathe in to prepare, breathe out to release. Why does this matter? Because your breath is the most powerful bridge between body and mind. It lowers blood pressure, steadies the nervous system, and turns exercise into something more than physical effort. It becomes ritual. I've seen patients who, after learning to breathe intentionally, not only move better, but live better. They no longer rush through exercises like tasks on a checklist. They move with presence, awareness, even grace. And something else happens. Fear fades. Because when you breathe with intention, your body and brain synchronize. You no longer feel like your body is betraying you. Instead, you feel in tune with it again. So, whether you're squatting, lifting, balancing, or simply standing, remember this: the breath is your anchor. It's the one exercise you can carry everywhere, in every moment. And here we are, 7 exercises. 7 keys to independence, strength, and confidence after 60. But if you were to ask me which one matters most, my answer might surprise you. It isn't the squats or the planks or even the balance walks. It's something far simpler. The choice to begin again, to rise from your chair, to lift your toes, to breathe with intention, to move even when you feel hesitant, to whisper to your body, I step still here, this step still living. I haven't given up. Because aging isn't the end. It's the chapter where every small movement becomes a return to yourself. Every repetition a reminder that your body still listens. Every breath a declaration that you still belong in this world, standing tall, moving freely, and living fully. So today, my dear friend, I invite you, don't let these exercises remain words on a screen. Try them, feel them, make them part of your life. Not perfectly, not quickly, but consistently. And when you do, I promise you'll notice something remarkable. Your steps will feel steadier. Your back will ache less. Your confidence will quietly return. And one day, without even thinking about it, you'll rise from your chair, walk across the room, and smile. Because you'll know you chose to begin again. Now, before you go, I want you to do 2 things. Hit that subscribe button so we can keep walking this journey together. Leave a comment below telling me which exercise felt most challenging or which one gave you the biggest aha moment. I read every single comment and I use them to shape the next video. This isn't just a channel. It's a community of people who refuse to give up on living. People who are proving every single day that life after 60 isn't about decline. It's about renewal. So until next time, I'll see you on a quiet morning. You'll rise from your chair, take a steady breath, and remind yourself of something beautiful. You're still strong, you're still here, and you're still moving forward.